Capcom is going full woke, and it's a freaking shame, ladies and gentlemen. They announced on their Capcom localization team's Twitter, yes, another localization team causing chaos. Just after we talked about Ubisoft, they posted this tweet that they're extremely proud of, calling it a global adventure through the lens of game localization. They're trying to make it sound exciting and fun, and they are getting ratioed in it. Do you guys remember when localization meant you were trying to explain to like 9-year-old kids why there's rice cakes in your Pokemon game? Yeah, well, now it's no longer about that. It doesn't matter about educating audiences on Japanese culture. At this point, it's about changing characters. It's about changing gameplay. It's about being diverse and exclusive and inclusive and whatever the hell all this buzzwords that they throw out there with DE and I. It's annoying. Now, this is their Osaka-based localization team that tweeted this out, and there's a bunch of Westerners in it that are in this localization team that are extremely woke. Super, super, super fucking woke, that want to control the narrative. They want to push their social justice narratives out there, and it's going to backfire. All right. People were already mad at Capcom for some of their DRM practices and a lot of their monetization efforts and transactions and just bad practices. And now they're starting to do this. They deserve to be ratioed. But anyways, let's take a look at this huge post that they posted. Like, this is like one of the biggest tweets I've seen in my life. There's all sorts of points here, and it's all cringe. So you can see they're saying, what is localization? Embark on a global adventure through the lens of game localization. Beyond mere translation, we're diving into the art of cultural adaptation, preserving context, and inclusive storytelling. Join us as we unravel the intricacies that make games resonate worldwide. The buzzwords are strong with this one. We see it's beyond mere translation. Yeah, again, you're not trying to translate things that are from a different culture so we can understand it here in America. They're going the other way. They want all the weird wacko stuff that the left-leaning Americans are trying to put into America to go over there. They want it all the way around. They want to localize it to make it more woke. And I know people get mad that I say woke. I'm going to say it again and again and again. You don't like it? Tough titty. Inclusive, preserving context, inclusive storytelling. It's weird that this is what they care about so much when it comes to localization. I don't understand it. They also emphasize with another point saying it's not just translating. It literally says localization isn't just about translating words. It's about adapting the game for a global audience. Think cultural nuances, idioms, and regional flair. A good localization makes players feel right at home wherever in the world they are. I'm going to be honest. When I'm playing a fucking video game, I don't want to feel right at home. I want to be in the world of Hyrule. I want to be in the Lilat system. I want to be in the Mushroom Kingdom. Why should we feel at home? Like, why is it so important that people feel represented and safe in their video games? It's a fucking video game. It's kids. Video games lasted for decades before all this DE and I stuff came out and starts to push all this weird political commentary and stuff. And I already hear it. I already see it in the comments and on Twitter. Eric, why does it matter? You're bringing attention to stuff that doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It matters because they're trying to control what we consume. They're trying to control narratives. They aren't doing their jobs as localization teams. And it's showing in these comments. It's not like I'm the only person in the world bitching about this. So going on, it says the importance of context. Lost in translation? Nah. Preserving the vibe is key. Jokes, references, and even gameplay elements might need a little cultural remix. It's important to find that sweet spot to make sure players get the intended experience without feeling like something got lost in the process. I think this is mumbo jumbo for saying that they're going to censor stuff. They're going to censor stuff. They're going to remove things that aren't for a global audience. Hands the fuck down. Don't even try to shy away from it or say anything like that. Next up, they say bridging the linguistic gap. Each language has its own unique structure and cultural context. Our teams work to ensure the narrative and dialogue maintain coherence and emotional impact. It's not just about words. It's about capturing the essence of the story in a way that resonates with the target audience. So who's the target audience? At this point, it's hard to tell who the target audience is with these people because they hate men, especially white men, straight white men at that. And a lot of them hate gamers. The majority of these people are wacko against gamers. They absolutely hate it. So who's the target audience? When they say a modern audience, a global modern audience, who's the target audience when you put all this jumbo in it? And the next point says cultural sensitivity in characters. Here we go. Character design and development must be culturally sensitive. What may be acceptable in one culture might be offensive in another. Localizers play a crucial role in ensuring that characters are relatable and respectful, avoiding stereotypes or other references that could be perceived as negative in specific cultures. So yeah, what might be acceptable in one culture might not be acceptable for others. So in other words, snowflakey stuff. All right. We know Japanese culture for the most part has boomed all around the world. We know everything that there is to do about Japanese culture. If anybody gets offended over Japanese culture, which I think is one of the most beautiful, most peaceful, passionate cultures out there, that's just full of like lots of real artistic value, lots of education when it comes to morals and life lessons, even the weird debauchery stuff, like it's all well known out there. It's a beautiful culture. And essentially, to me, this is screaming that they want to censor stuff. We're not going to get a correct, full experience because it might offend somebody. And we've already seen this with some games coming over from Japan, especially like on Sony consoles, where stuff gets super censored. The next one is inclusive language and representation. Localization efforts extend to promoting inclusivity through language and representation. This involves adapting not only the linguistic aspects, but also addressing gender-specific language, cultural norms, and diverse perspectives. The aim is to create an immersive experience where players from different backgrounds can identify with the characters and narrative. This can be very challenging for certain languages due to grammar. Again, it's always about gender-specific language. All right. When I was in Spanish class, we used to have to conjugate the verbs like ella, ustedes, nosotros, whatever the hell, all that crap that I forgot. But that was for a reason. That was to be proper gender, like specific roles, like a boy and a girl, right? Now it's because we need pronouns and we need to identify and we need all this weird stuff that they're trying to implant, all these weird ideologies. And I am so surprised that Capcom in Japan, the Osaka division, is allowing this to happen. Japan, step in. And why do you need to identify with the characters and narrative? You're playing fictional characters. You're trying to escape who you are. When I play a video game, I'm not trying to identify as Link or Super Mario. I'm escaping my reality. You can see adapting humor and wit. Humor often relies on cultural references and wordplay, making it a challenging aspect of game localization. Translators must carefully navigate puns, jokes, and cultural references to maintain the intended comedic effect. This requires a deep understanding of the target audience's sense of humor while staying true to the original wit. Again, you have to understand the target audience's sense of humor. It doesn't matter what was originally written, right? We have to localize it. We have to make sure that we carefully navigate it. You know, any puns and jokes and cultural references, we have to tiptoe and walk on eggshells so we don't hurt people in their little safe spaces, ladies and gentlemen. You got to be careful. And then consistency in terminology says maintaining consistency in terminology is crucial for a smooth and coherent gaming experience. This applies not only to translating words, but also to ensure that game mechanics, instructions, and lore are consistently represented across languages. Establishing a cohesive language system helps prevent confusion and enhances the overall gaming experience for players worldwide. Basically just mumbo jumbo and a bunch of crock of crap. You can see all these buzzwords are coming in here, carefully navigate and diverse perspectives and be, responsible, gender specific and all this crap. Honestly, this deserved to get run through the mud, and it is getting run through the mud. Grums actually posted a little scoop here. He's saying that he will be having an inside scoop which gives much more information. about everything involving this. In fact, his thing says Capcom goes full woke in their localization, changes characters, gameplay, and more for DEI. This is their Osaka-based localization team, which is full of Westerners and localization who are extremely left-leaning and control their narrative. How do I know? My Insider Scoop post tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Grums has been bringing the heat with a lot of things online. Now, we're going to take a look at some of these comments here on Twitter just to show you how bad this is backfiring here, because this is ridiculous. Look at Melanie Mac right here. RIP dreams. Dreams indeed. I'm not even looking forward to the next Resident Evil at this point. What the hell are they going to change? We're never going to have Lady D anymore. Big Mommy Milkers, she's long gone. The next person, Christian Devil May Cry. Shout-outs to them. They're always reading my Twitter and responding to it. They said, hashtag Crapcom is back. And exactly, Crapcom is exactly back on that. And you hate to see it. It's sad. Now, this was a pretty funny cartoon right here. It says, gamers are not ready for the new Chun-Li. And yeah, sentiment's exactly right here with the new Chun-Li with sporting a goatee and all. Then we had Zani Silverhand saying you cannot hate localizers enough, especially when obviously they have their freaking manifesto listing every single fucking thing that they're going to do to try to change games for target audiences. It's fucking cringe. You can see Chromosome Boo says, I'm glad I don't play many of their games. Go woke, go broke. And that's the thing as well, is some of these companies are learning the hard way that once you start to tread down this path of trying to, fit the narrative, it often backfires. Look at Scratch Point right here. Thanks for the confirmation that localization is just imposing Western values onto Japanese media. Not that we needed it, because it's been obvious for decades. Yeah, I mean, you think of all the games that get censored and have stuff changed when they come over here. It's beyond frustrating. I see people complaining all the time about the censorship in the video games. Continuing on right here, we see, make your game for the non-existent modern audience and you'll receive the non-existent money. And that hits the nail on the head. This non-existent modern audience that movies, TV, film, and even music are catering to. And you wonder why box office money's down, why movies, TV, stuff just doesn't hit as much anymore, because nobody cares. Nobody watches this shit to be like, hey, are they navigating the comedy in this? Are they taking the modern audience in mind? What the hell's wrong with people? And then my last tweet I want to show is Master of the TDS says, how about you translate the game and leave everything else alone? You do not need to adapt things for the modern audience. If you are going to do that, make an entirely new game. No one will buy it, but at least you will be hip with the kids. My sentiments exactly. That's what I always say when they try to change source material, like on original stuff. I'm like, at this point, why don't you just make a new IP with everything that you want on it instead of adapting a classic like Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, whatever. Street Fighter, Resident Evil, He-Man, any kind of like nostalgic thing now, they're changing it up for modern audiences, and it's very tiresome at this point. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It just seems like all these companies are starting to spend money that I feel could go to better things, making better video games, spending it on resources to help these studios. They're spending money on shit that doesn't matter. If anything, I would say using AI at this point to weed out all these weird wokies working for these companies would be the best thing. Using AI software to localize stuff. Why use somebody that's coming in with an agenda, people that are just batshit insane? You've been seeing all the masks come off of journalists and game industry workers and development teams after all this Sweet Baby Inc. stuff that's come to light. There is literally a agenda against all gaming. The rainbow-haired colored people saw how big gaming got, and they want to try to control it. And if we all voted with our wallets and stopped buying these games, they would move on to something else, unfortunately. But, I mean, gaming is a huge medium, and it's going to have people like this making these localization teams and all that. And I know there's going to be people, why is it, you're just being a wacko catering with your right-wing grift. No, it's not a right-wing grift. People only say that when they know that their argument is stupid and pointless. They try to say it's a grift when you have a point. And look at this. Just read how cringe this stuff is. You hate to see it.